Tens of millions of customers, some local, find themselves at risk after several major credit card hacks. Target, Neiman Marcus, and Michaels all apologizing and now frantic to make security changes.
But the best protection may come from yourself. Joining us this morning is Celeste Collins, the Executive Director of On Track Financial Education and Counseling. Thanks for being here. This is obviously a scary time for consumers. Identity theft can lead to years and years of headaches.
Absolutely. The Federal Trade Commission estimates it takes 6 months and 200 hours for identity theft victims to fix the problems.
That's 5 weeks working full-time on that.
Absolutely.
So for the average person, it's going to take several years so you can get it off your credit, things like that.
Exactly, and mounds of paperwork and contacts and phone calls.
So talk to us, who are the thieves? Who are the people out here that actually are doing this? I mean, are they just in cyberspace somewhere?
Well, some of them are. Thieves are looking for personal information or financial information that can either give them access to your current financial credit cards and things like that, or help them create new credit in your name. They could be cyber hackers that go into corporate databases or even send you emails so they can access information on your own computer. Or they can look at your social media site and find out information about you that could be helpful in stealing your identity. They could be people that go through your trash or steal mail from your mailbox. They can even be friends or family that are having financial problems that know you have good credit and want to use that to get additional money for themselves.
So that's maybe a myth, or you don't think this may be somebody that you know, somebody that's fallen maybe on hard times that may just take advantage of your
good
generosity.
credit. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Are you talking about identity theft? So how do we handle the Social Security card, the credit card, anything else that might be in the wallet?
Well, the Social Security number, don't carry your card and don't even carry your number. That's the golden key to your identity that thieves can use to get to your credit report. Credit cards versus debit cards. Now, pay your credit cards off, but use them instead of debit cards when you're using online shopping or even in stores, because there's more protection and less risk.
They can't wipe out your account at that point.
Exactly.
Okay.
And carry cash for small purchases. There's no reason to put yourself at risk by using plastic for something that's less than $10.
Okay, especially when they're using the skimmers to take your number. Avoid the debit card.
Oh, that's true, because
Exactly.
think about the lunch times you go through the drive-thru and you spend the $5 or $6 on the debit card. You're putting yourself at risk needlessly.
Exactly.
And I've also heard, what about protection in writing to show photo ID? Is that important? I've heard a little bit about that lately.
I really like that idea, Holly. On the back of your credit card where it has signature line, write photo ID required, because then the cashier has to look at your identification to make sure it's you. You can also check your credit report annually to make sure there's no unauthorized transactions. And then monitor your social media site. Make sure you're not posting things like "I'm going to be gone for a week" or your pet's name or your mother's maiden name, those things that people use for passwords. Okay. Also, when you get your bank statements and credit card statements, watch for unauthorized transactions.
Celeste, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
We'll see you again in the next hour.
Yeah, we're going to have much more on this. And also coming up, the latest trend on identity theft, and it actually might surprise you. We're going to be talking live about medical theft hitting you where you're most vulnerable.
6:15 right now. This morning we are examining the scary topic of identity theft, and one of the fastest growing categories may surprise you.
Yeah, medical theft is hitting victims at their most vulnerable. It's happening at hospitals and doctors' office waiting rooms.
Joining us right now is Jim Kelly, Mission Health's Information Security Officer. Thanks for being here. In this age of smartphones, it's very easy for somebody to take a picture of somebody filling out a form in a waiting area. How do you prevent this kind of thing?
It is. It is very easy to take a picture today and then use that to disseminate that information. It's important for people to understand that you need to protect your medical information the same way you protect your Social Security number. The reason being, if your medical information is compromised and someone takes that and gets services with that, that could alter your medical record. And then when you go in a time of crisis, it could give you the wrong diagnosis or the wrong treatment.
And are we seeing this here? I mean, you don't think, you're going into the doctor's office, but on those forms you fill out, most of all of your information, Social Security number. Is this something that you guys, how do you handle this? Do you tell patients? I mean, is this something people need to be thinking about?
It is. When you're in the doctor's office, certainly be aware of those around you, making sure that they're not pulling out their cameras and taking pictures. Also, if you need to find a private area, go find a private area. But Mission Health particularly takes great measures to protect that information. Once we get those pieces of paper, we enter them immediately into our systems and then shred the information and protect it from the time that it enters through the time it's disseminated throughout the system.
You know, you made a good point just a second ago that I hadn't thought about. Somebody steals your identity, they can go and get your health care.
That's right.
And then assume your identity, and their condition is now on your record. I mean, that's just outrageous.
So think about it, if you have diabetes and
Right.
they go in and get treatment and take that off of your record and they're tested and it shows negative, then then the next time you go in the time of crisis, you could get the wrong treatment.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Talk was also about, this is something I hadn't thought about really, photocopies. Photocopiers have hard drives in them, and people are now being warned about the information that's photocopied. How do you handle that? Because if anybody takes a hard drive out of that, especially coming from a doctor's office or a hospital, that could have hundreds of patients' information in it.
Absolutely. Two technologies exist to help mitigate that risk. One is when we print something at the hospital or in Mission Health, that is immediately erased from the hard drives and wiped to a Department of Defense level standard. Also, when we recycle those pieces of equipment, they go back to a reclamation center and they're wiped there to the same level of standard.
That may not be, though, at a regular doctor's office. Maybe it's not within the Mission Health system. What can people do? How do people protect themselves?
Yeah, a couple things. One, do not disclose your information to anyone that is not a service provider. Two, check your medical records, your statement of benefits, and your insurance benefits that you get when you get them in the mail. Make sure that the times and dates match up. And certainly if you see anything awry, contact there's the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services fraud hotline that you can contact, but also contact your service provider.
That's what
well.
you do if your identity's been stolen.
That's correct.
All right, Jim, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
Very
Appreciate
interesting. Coming up in the next half hour, who's going through your mail and the simple step you can take to stop it. We'll be right back.
From the grocery store to the doctor's office, every day your identity is at risk of being stolen. All morning long, we've been empowering you to protect yourself.
And joining us again is Celeste Collins, the Executive Director of OnTrack Financial Education and Counseling. Thanks again for being with us.
You're welcome.
We talked earlier this morning about what we should carry with us, what we shouldn't carry with us. Let's talk about the ever-important smartphone and talk about passwords on them.
It's amazing the information that people have on their smartphones, and even though it's inconvenient, having a password on your smartphone is incredibly important. If you have a mobile banking application on your smartphone, if a thief steals your phone and you don't have a password on your phone, they can use that mobile banking app feature, forgot password, to request a new password sent right back to the device, and they've got access to your finances.
And they've wiped you out.
Yes.
Emails it right back to your phone. I just started putting a password on here because of this. You don't even think about something like that. It's all right here.
Right.
And even just an unattended phone, not even a stolen one. You
That's
leave it
right.
on your desk at work or
At the
somewhere.
restaurant?
Yeah, at the ball game.
And
Somebody could do that.
Yeah, and then you still have your phone and you have no idea they've accessed your information.
Yeah, then it's really hard to track.
That's right.
Yeah, good point there. Of course, many of us signed up a few years ago for the Do Not Call list.
Right.
But now we're getting more and more of this junk mail. And this is not good either. How do we get rid of this? Can you sign up to get rid of it?
Yes, you can. There are lists generated by the credit bureaus, and if you don't want to be part of those kinds of lists that typically are pre-approved credit applications that come in the mail, then you can call a number for opting out.
There it is right there on the screen.
The number is 1-888-5-OPT-OUT, and it's also available online at optoutprescreen.com.
And if somebody opens your mail, they could get some pretty interesting information about you even on the applications, right?
Absolutely. So if a pre-approved application comes in, the thief steals it, fills it out, changes the address, you've suddenly got credit in your name going to a different mailing address.
And you get those pre-approved things all the time in
Right.
the mail. I get stuff like that.
All the time.
Okay, something you definitely don't even think about.
You don't even think about
Right.
that. You don't.
But you do think about shredding. I mean, is this really, I know it seems like a hassle for a lot of folks. Do we need to be shredding all of this mail and these documents?
Absolutely. Junk mail, old tax forms, medical records, and even your insurance information. You want those kinds of things not available in the recycle bin or your trash because thieves are very creative.
Well, we found out in the last hour that, in fact, somebody could actually go, if they got your insurance information, pose as you, get treatment under your name, and then your medical record has their stuff on it.
That's right, and altered, and it can compromise your health treatment in the future.
Yes, it's not even attacking your
Crazy.
financial, but they can also steal your medical identity. And it's very easy. Celeste, are we seeing things like this happening around here? I mean, people going through mail. Is this happening in Asheville and Buncombe County in the mountains?
We do have people who come to see us at On Track Financial Education and Counseling who've had their identity compromised. Now, tracing it back to figure out where that compromise happened is really tricky.
Yeah.
And this can be hours and hours, years of headaches
To fix
for
it.
folks.
Yes, absolutely.
Any other tips for us before we head out?
Yes, pay attention, watch for monthly statements that are missing. If it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true. Emails, phone calls, those kinds of things. Check on elderly folks because they're big victims.
Right. Susceptible.
Yes, and call us at On Track. We'd love to help you. We have classes and counseling and resource books.
Okay, very good information all morning long. If you've missed any of our segments, we've been talking about this since 5:30. Be sure to go to our website today, WLOS.com. We'll get you caught up on everything that you need to know to protect yourself.